My name is Jack Rich. And for as long as I can remember, my family never saw me as a son, only as the punchline to their jokes. I didn't grow up in a home, I grew up in an arena. Holidays weren't about love or tradition. They were tournaments. Everyone paraded their trophies, report cards slapped on the fridge, medals displayed like armor, new jobs and cars turned into weapons. And me? I was the one left standing unarmed, a target for their laughter. Thanksgiving was always the worst. My dad loved packing the house, long tables sagging under turkey and casseroles, the air thick with heat and noise. For other families, that kind of crowd might have felt warm. For mine, it was a stage. The adults sat at the real table, bragging about careers and vacations, while I was shoved onto the folding table with the kids, even when I was old enough to drink. Jack doesn't mind, my mom would laugh, like she was excusing me. And everyone else would chuckle. I'd smile like it didn't sting. But it did. Every time. The worst part wasn't the chair I sat in. It was the way my dad looked at me whenever I tried to speak. That sharp laugh that cut deeper than any insult. One year, I was 20. I'd been working on a small app with a friend, nothing huge, but it mattered to me. I opened my mouth to tell my uncle about it, and my dad shut me down in front of everyone. Don't bore him with nonsense, he said. Jack will never amount to anything. The table erupted with laughter. My cousin Derek leaned back, smirked, and added, "Don't worry, Jack. You can wash my car someday." I sat there frozen, my face burning. I wanted to scream, but the words caught in my throat. That night, I made myself a promise. One day, I'd prove them wrong. But proving people wrong doesn't happen overnight. For years, I worked jobs that barely paid rent, stayed up learning skills I couldn't afford classes for, lived in apartments where the walls were so thin I heard strangers fight through the plaster. My family didn't know. They didn't care. They thought I was still the failure, still the joke. Every insult they threw was fuel. Every laugh was a spark. And slowly, I was building something out of the ashes. By my mid-20s, that little app had grown teeth. It started pulling in money, then attention. I poured myself into it, sacrificing sleep, weekends, everything. Success crept in. First a steady income. Then a deal that changed everything. But I told no one. Silence became my weapon. Because silence makes the reveal deafening. Then last Thanksgiving came. I hadn't shown up for a couple of years, but that night, I walked in. The house was the same. The smell of roasted turkey, the chatter, the clinking glasses. And the moment my dad saw me, he smirked. "Your seat's waiting," he said, pointing at the kids' table. Derek whispered, loud enough for everyone, "Careful. Don't let Jack near the silverware, he might pawn it for rent." The laughter hit me like a wave, familiar and suffocating. I sat at the kids' table, keys heavy in my pocket, my jaw tight. Around me, the adults bragged like always. Derek boasted about his new BMW, his voice dripping with arrogance. My dad chimed in, "Not everyone can afford nice things. Some people waste money on silly ideas." He looked right at me. My mom shrugged. Even my sister Hannah, the one who used to defend me, laughed along this time. That cut deeper than anything. And then it happened. My dad raised his glass, smiling wide. "Let's toast to the achievers in this family," he said. He listed them one by one, Derek, Hannah, my cousin Sarah. And when he reached me, he smirked. And to Jack, for showing up. At least he made it this time. The table roared with laughter. My chest tightened. My fingers brushed against the keys in my pocket. Not Derek's BMW keys, mine. Keys to something they couldn't even imagine. I wanted to slam them on the table, silence the room, watch their faces shatter. But I didn't. Not yet. I just smiled thinly and whispered, "No thanks," when Derek offered me his keys like I was his valet. My dad shook his head. "Suit yourself. Some things never change." But inside me, everything had changed. That night, I realized the truth: no matter what I did, they would never see me as anything more than the family failure. And maybe that was fine. Maybe the real victory wasn't proving them wrong. It was living in a way that made their opinion irrelevant. I left dinner quietly. Drove home in silence. Their laughter still echoing in my ears. For the first time in years, I felt crushed under the same weight I carried as a teenager. But then something shifted. I thought, if they'll never accept me, then I don't need them to. My life, my success, my worth, they don't belong to their approval. So I went back to the grind. This time with a new fire. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove to myself that I didn't need their applause. And little by little, I rose. My app exploded. We signed deals, opened an office, hired employees who believed in me when my own blood never did. My apartment became a condo. My account filled with numbers I never dreamed of. And every morning, unlocking my office door, I felt pride so sharp it drowned out my father's laugh. Now, when I think of that night, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel clarity. My family wanted me small, because small was easy to laugh at. But I'm not small anymore. And one day, whether they're ready or not, they'll see exactly who Jack Rich became. And here's the truth for you, watching this: sometimes the people closest to you will never believe in you. They'll cling to the version of you that makes them feel bigger. But their laughter isn't prophecy. Their doubt isn't destiny. It's fuel. And if you're carrying keys in your pocket that no one else understands yet, hold them tight. Your time is coming.